videos for again?
Huh?
What are the videos for again?
I don't know how to build a car. I don't know. What are we talking about?
Functions?
Then it would be about functions. It's not going to be about something that I have, no idea.
In general.
Huh?
I was talking about like in general.
Each class. Each class. That's why I video each class. Okay. I was just trying to make y'all laugh a little bit.
Oh, that.
Gosh. All right. So, y'all going to have to do better. I can't handle this. So, draw a vertical line through the function. Is it a function? No, it is not. And you type in no. So that's a pretty easy question. You'll get probably one of those on the test, if not two, because I like being very lenient on the first test. So you're going to get a lot of gimmies, and you're going to get a lot of these easy ones. So please don't mess it up. Please. All right. Most of your ellipse, most of your circles, most of your hyperbola. What's a hyperbola? Hyperbola is that's a hyperbola. It looks like a C or a backward C. Anything like that is not going to be a function. An ellipse looks like an egg. Well, that don't look like an egg. But you get the whole point. Anything circular or anything that touches more than once is not a function. Capiche? So I didn't cover that, but most of the stuff that I covered we're going to run into. So find the domain and range for the function below in the graph. All right, domain and range. Now, sometimes, like I told you the other day, you're going to be given the domain and range like x is greater than or equal to 3. And then the domain would be 3 and above. And then the range would be whatever the formula spits out, 3 and above. But sometimes you're going to be given graphics. Now, what x values are being used for this function? Negative what? Let's see, that's 8. What would that be? 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, what? Or 20, wouldn't it? It's negative 20. These are 4s, aren't they? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So your domain would be negative 20 to what? So that would be your domain. Domain is negative 20 to 16. Why do I put brackets? Why do I not put parentheses? Because brackets mean that it's inclusive. Look at your dots or look at your circles at the end of the function. What are they? Excuse me. Are they opened or closed? They're closed. That means they're inclusive. You need to write that down. Brackets, closed dots means inclusive. Mm-hmm. These dots right here, see them? They are closed. They're solid. So therefore, you're going to have brackets on the end of your domain. Now, what's your range? Well, right quick, I'm going to change the color of this guy. Change it to green, and I'm going to take a green highlighter and I'm going to highlight the domain so you can actually see it. There's your domain. Because domain is what values? X or Y? X. So now we're going to do the range. Range. Now somebody tell me why I went from on the domain. Why did I go from negative 20 to 16? Why didn't I go 16 to negative 20? Well, 16 is the biggest number. But unless you're from the Middle East, Musalama,
You generally go left to right.
generally go left to right because that's the way you've been reading for the last, oh, you must drink, 19 years. For the last 15 years, you've been reading from left to right. Why start going from right to left? Now, as a in general, when you're walking down the sidewalk, which way do you usually look? Do you look up in the air like this? Or do you generally look about 10 to 20 feet in front of you? Now, some people walk like this. They got nose problems called snobbiness. But most people usually look down, and then when something happens, they what? Look up. So, in general, most people go from here to here. So, with the range, and I will do the range.
Priority 1 message coming in on secured channel.
In mauve, your range is going from -12 to what? To 2, it looks like. So your range, sorry, we'll do it in a little bit darker color. Range is from -12 to 2, and it's inclusive because this actually touches -2. You can see it right there. It's the highest point, so it takes up. That's why you don't go to 0, you go to 2, because it's the highest point used. And that's how you find the domain and range graphically, and you will have several of these on the test. These are not gimmies. These are good, important test questions. Hint, hint. That means make a note. Okay, so we'll type in 3 so you can see what the answer is and see that I'm not crazy. There's the domain. And there's the range. So did we get it right? Yep. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, what did I tell you about functions like this? Look in your notes. What did I tell you? I remember talking about this. I told you that the domain is not generally affected unless you have what? A radical function or a what? Or complex rational. A radical or a rational. Rational means what? Fraction. A radical means this guy. So what did I tell you? So what do? You set the radicand equal to what? What did I tell you to do with the radical? There's a guy down in Star, he's dead now, named Willow McGee. He was a farmer, and he used to wear white rubber boots. Nobody could figure out why he wore white rubber boots, because when you're a farmer, a dairy farmer especially, what do you have on your boots? Cow manure, and it's dark green. So usually you wear black rubber boots. Not Willow. He ordered white rubber boots. And he ordered not white rubber boots, he ordered white shoes. And when you see them, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking Willow. He's dead now. He shot at 2 F-14s too. 2 F-14s from Sumter was flying around Star, and they were scaring his cows. And he took a rifle out and shot them. About 20 minutes later, about an hour later, about 3 or 4 black Suburbans rolled up in his backyard, and they didn't do anything with him, but they told him not to shoot at the F-14s anymore. He also decided he was going to blow up a beaver lodge in his pond because they were. So he took the dynamite out there and threw the dynamite out in the pond, and his dog went and got the dynamite. And he took off running. I can hear him say, all I saw was a red mist. Man, it's crazy. How did I get from radicals to, I don't even know how I got there. Anyway, take the denominator, take the radicand, and set it equal to what? Yes, sir.
This may make these seem stupid to you, but what's an F-14?
F-14 is a Tomcat. It's a, you ever seen Top Gun?
Top
The
Gun?
movie Top Gun? Okay, well, it's a fighter. It's a fighter plane. F-14. And they were doing maneuvers around his farm. And they were scaring his cows and dairy cows.
So
He shot at them. He couldn't shoot them. He shot at them, and evidently he must have got real close to them or hit one of them in the wing or something with his rifle because they radioed in, somebody's shooting at me. So anyway. All right, so what is the answer to this? Well, 2x is equal to 14. X is equal to what? 7. So what will 7 give you in the radical? 0. Can you take the square root of 0? Yes. So that doesn't help us any. Go one above and one below 7. Let's do 8. What's 8 times 2? 16 minus 14? That's a positive number. Let's try 6. What's 2 times 6? 12 minus 14? Can you have a negative 2 in a square root? No. So we cannot use numbers less than what? 7. So what is our domain? X greater than or equal to 7.
The radicand is what's under the radical.
So there is your domain. Now, what does it say write it in? What kind of notation? Interval, Hubert. That's right, class. So this is not interval notation. Interval notation means 7 to what? Infinity. Why did I put a parenthesis on infinity?
Because we can't bracket it.
You can't touch it. Exactly. You can't tell me what infinity is. So therefore it has to have a parenthesis. Good job. So this is an answer. This is the answer. The only other is set builder notation. When you take this and hold your pinky up, x, such that x is greater than or equal to 7 and braces. That's set builder notation. Those are your 3 possible answers. But make sure you read the directions, because the directions say interval notation. That's this one.
The 7 common infinity thing.
That's interval notation. The one that I got a square around or rectangle. That's interval notation.
How do you type in the infinity?
Dang old. Up there, dang old infinity key. Dang old, pay attention. We'll type it in just so you can see how to do it. Dang old bracket. 7, comma, dang old infinity, dang old parenthesis. Excelentiente. We got that right, and we feel good about ourselves. All right, let's look at this one. I'm going to let you write it down. And Miss Foster's going to show everybody how to do it while they're done all of them. Take care of it for me. Miss Foster can talk to me. So I have to fight for that.
Is it X years?
Mr. Green, quieten it down, please. Try to hold it down. Yes, sir. Huh? Oh, well, I'm off the clock, so I can't help you. That's a joke. A business property valued at $380,000 is depreciated, no cost, over 38 years by the straight line method. So its value X years after the depreciation began. Okay, write that down. You need to highlight that. Its value X years after the depreciation began is V is equal to 380,000 minus 110,000 X. Explain why the value of the properties is a function of the number of years. Well, you can answer this several different ways, but there is one way, one simple reason you can explain why it is a function. What does it say? What kind of method is it? Straight line. So if you draw and it's a straight line, it's going to be going like this or something like that. If you draw a line, vertical line through it, is it a function? Yes, it is, Hubert. Thank you, class. Now, let's see what the answer is. There is one input for each output. That's a possibility. There is more than one output for each input. That would be, I don't think that would be because it's not a quadratic. There is more than one input for each output. There is an output for each input. I would go with either A or D. Now, how does input and output go in nature? Input to output. And that would be your answer. Input to output. For there is one output for each what? input. There is one input for each output. That is not correct, because that is saying that you have to put in an output to get a what? Input. So some people say that's the same thing as that. No. There's 4 quarters in a dollar, but there's not $4 in a quarter. You got it? It's not the same thing. Nothing. A and D is not the same. That's what I was saying. We got it right. It's a miracle.
Mr. McClure?
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing I think that's confused me is problems that don't. It's problems that ask you not to solve it, but
To define it or to, yeah, and I would not ask this question on the test. Okay? All I care about is if you can do the algebra. Okay? So try to do this one on your homework, but don't worry about it being on the test. Okay? Now, you could also, the problems that I showed you the other day are the problems that we talked about the other day. Let me ask you a question. If I give you a graph like this, and I draw a line like that, each one of these x's, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, each one of these x's is going to give you a what? A y. Now, can you plug in a y and get an x? Or do you plug in an x to get a y? Which one? You always plug in x to get y. That's what I've been teaching y'all since the first day. Or since last class. What day was that? Tuesday. So that's what I've been teaching you since Tuesday. The hay, can you have a hay bale and not have any hay on the ground? No. Can you have ice if you don't have the water hooked up? Then you can't have y if you don't have what? So the input has to be before the output. And read these two. So that takes this out, and that takes this out. This one says there is one input for each output. That says that I've got to put in an output before I can get an input. That means I've got to put in y before I can get x. And that's not right. Get it? Okay. So that's why this is the answer, because this says there is one output for each input. Now, you English people, you grab onto this, because it's a play on what? It's a play on words. They're trying to mix you up by the word. So you have to think about it a little bit. There's your answer. All right, let's go to a nerd, and then we'll move on to another section. Because these are all kind of basic. I ain't got to any good test questions yet, except for those 1 or 2 that I showed you. All right, that might be a test question. That might be a test question. Let's go with this one first. All right, write that one down. It says, I'll blow it up for you because I know there's always going to be somebody sitting 100 yards from the front saying they can't see. So, I don't know why the ones that can't see always sit in the back, but okay, that's all I can do right there. It says the revenue from the sale of specialty golf hats is given by the function R of x or f of x or whatever is equal to 26x, where x is the number of hats sold. X is the number of hats sold. And it says, what is R of 100 and what is the revenue from the sale of 2,500 hats? You can say f of x. You don't have to do R of x. You can do f of x.
F of x is equal to
26x. You're going to do math on this one.
Oh.
Now, anytime, and you can write this down in any algebra, anytime you're given a formula and it says f of x is equal to 26x, somewhere down the line, they're going to tell you to figure out something, to figure out what f of x is. Now, I'm going to make this easy for you. This is another way of writing y is equal to 26x. Does anybody have a problem with that? It's the same thing. R of x, f of x is the same thing as y is equal to. Alright? What did I tell you the other day when you have f of x is equal to 26x and they give you a number in that slot right there? What did I tell you that you did with that number? Plug it in, it's for x. Plug it in for x. So f of 100 is equal to 26 times what? And what's the answer? F of 100 is equal to 2600. Now, let's talk about what we just found out. It says the revenue from the sale of golf hats is given by revenue is equal to 26 times the number of hats. So what does this tell us right here? Somebody put that in a sentence form, not write it on them. Tell me what that says. Tell me what it says. In a sentence.
If you sell 100 hats, you get 2,600.
That's it. If you sell 100 hats, you get $2,600 in what? Revenue. That's what it says. Write that down because that's what that says. Because X is 100. Now, a while ago, I told you to highlight something. What did I tell you to highlight? No, it's not in here. It's not in here.
No.
What did I tell you? That's a joke. All right. Where X is what? Number of hats sold. I told you to highlight that. X is the number of hats sold. Huh?
You also tell us to write it down.
No, I told you to write it down, but I told you to highlight this right here. Where X is the number of hats sold. So what does this 100 represent right here? X. So that means 100 what? Hats were sold. So if 100 hats were sold, then what does that leave this number to be? The revenue. Revenue is a 25-cent word for money coming what? In. So if you sell 100 hats, you're going to get $2,600 in the bank.
Because each hat is worth $26?
Pretty much. Yes, sir. Now, does that mean that's profit? No. Why? Because it may cost you $15 to make the hat. So it costs you $16 to make the hat. You make $10 off each hat. So you made $1,000. Capitalism. It's a terrible thing. We should all give to the government and live off the government. Like France is doing. I'm sorry, France is going bankrupt right now. All right. So let's put in 2,600. We got it right. Now, what is the revenue from the sale of 2,500 hats? All right, do that part. What is the revenue of selling 2,500 hats? I'm going to let y'all do it for a second, and then we'll do it on the board. Then you're probably going to have to get your calculators out, unless you're Rain Man. Unless you know what 26 quarters are. Let's see, 26 quarters. 26 quarters. 24 quarters be $8, right? No, 24 quarters would be $6. So 28 quarters would be $6.50. 65.50 maybe? I don't know. Let's see, 2,500 times 650 be 65,500. Is that right? What'd y'all get? 65,000. Okay, I'm sorry. I must have got a 5 in there somewhere. Okay, let me do that again. 26. Okay, 25. 26 quarters. 24 quarters. 24 quarters would be $6. $6.50. So that would be $6.50. $6.50. So that'd be $6.50. I'm just thinking out loud. You'll just 65,000. Is that right? Okay. I had an extra 5 in there for some reason. I don't know why. So let's see what they ask us. Selling 2,600 hats generates a revenue of $100. Selling 100 hats, I didn't know they were going to ask that. Sorry. Save. I thought we were supposed to. What the heck? I sucked. All right, selling 100 hats generates. Okay, here we go. All right. What is the revenue from the sale of 2,500 hats? Well, that'd be 2,500, and that's going to be equal to 65,000. Well done. So, some of y'all may need to go into the hat business. All you got to do is fix one hat and sell $2,500, and then you've got your year. That's your yearly salary. No. If it costs $16 per hat to make, you've made $10. So $10 times 2,500 is 25 what? 1,000, Hubert. That's right. So you got to make at least 3 hats, 3 different hats, and sell. If you want to make, $75,000 a year. But all you got to do is do one thing and just everybody go crazy over it and make a lot of money. Wish I could do that. All right, try that one. And then we'll move on to the next section of homework. I've already done your first homework for you. No yawning in class. Not allowed. It says, if a test that has a reliability of 0.7 has the number of questions increased by a factor n, the reliability of the new test is the following formula. So just ignore all of that and just say R of n or f of x is equal to 0.7x over 0.5 plus 0.7x. You don't have to use the n's if you don't want to. What is the domain of the function defined by this equation? And if the application used requires that the size of the test be increased, what values of n make sense in the application? In other words, what does the domain tell you about this function? That's what they're asking. So go ahead and look at it. Take your minute or two. Is 0.7n over 0.5 plus 0.7n. That was interesting. I was going to show it to you, but the video's not working. Bus driver crashes into house. All right. So, you finished? Well, first of all, I'm going to change this into f of x because that just messes me up. So, I'm just going to change it into f of x. So, f of x is equal to 0.7x over 0.5 plus 0.7x. Now, they ask you for the domain. What did I tell you to do if you have a rational? Set the denominator equal to what? 0. So we'll say A, set denominator equal to 0. So 0.5 plus 0.7x is equal to 0. And let's solve. How do you get rid of a positive 0.5? Subtract it or take it across the river, whichever one you want to call it. So 0.7x is equal to negative 0.5 and divide by what? 0.7. 0.7. So if you plug in x is equal to negative 0.5 over 0.7, what are you going to get for an answer? Somebody tell me what 0.5 divided by 0.7 is, so I ain't got to write it as a fraction. What's 0.5 divided by 0.7? Huh? X is equal to negative 0.71. So if I plug negative 0.71 into this function, what's going to happen? I'm going to get what in the denominator? And the function will do what if 0 is the denominator? It'll blow up. It'll do not exist. It can't exist. So I cannot use negative 0.71, can I? But I can use any numbers besides negative 0.71. Can I use negative 10? Yes. Can I use positive 10? Yes. Why? Because that's the only number right here. This is the only number that will give me what in the denominator? 0. And you need to write that down so you'll know why you can't use 0.71, negative 0.71. I'm here. Why are you confused? Tell me where you're confused.
You can't plug in negative 0.71.
Because that will give you what in the denominator? It will give you 0.
I think I may have to try and solve it to see if it's actually.
Yeah, that's what we did right here. Set it equal to 0. Set denominator equal to 0. We did that. And we came out with x is equal to negative 0.5 over 0.7.
It's just common sense.
Yeah, well, set the denominator equal to 0 whenever you have a fraction. This is a fraction with a variable in the denominator. Set the denominator equal to 0. That's the first thing you do. Set the denominator equal to 0. Now, which is your answer? All real numbers or all real numbers except for 0.71? Negative 0.71. What's the answer? B. Now, I have no idea. They don't say decimals. They don't say fraction. Somebody divide 0.5 by 0.7 and tell me if it's a repeating or what. It's just 0.71? Okay. Let's see if it, maybe if I hit B, it may tell me to do, no, it doesn't.
Well,
I'll put negative 0.71. Yep.
I've noticed that like 0.7 times negative 0.7 negative.
Why did they get 5/7? No, it's negative 5/7. I got negative 0.5. Did I not? Okay, y'all need to divide that last one, huh?
The calculator doesn't exact, the answer does not exactly come out to negative, negative.
0.71, it comes out something else. That's how I understand. I'm right now I'm trying to figure out why.
It's just, it's so close that it's like, there's barely anything left.
Okay, people, am I missing something? Why is their answer 5/7 and mine is 0.5/0.7? No, we're not all confused.
Multiply the, thing by 10.
Well, yeah, but why? The answer is the same. What's 5 divided by 7? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all. It should be the same thing.
I was thinking, geez.
0.71. So I don't know why they're... And you can't multiply by 10 unless you multiply both sides by 10. And that would be 10 times f of x is equal to 7x over 5 plus 7x. You have to multiply both sides. You can't just multiply one side. So I would go with, I mean, you got the answer. I'm not worried. I just don't understand how they got the whole numbers without going through and clearing everything.
Wait, the answer is negative
0.71. That's the
So
answer.
we can't use it for the,
Denominator. You can use all numbers except for negative 0.71.
so how do we, that's the domain?
All numbers, all real numbers, except for x cannot equal negative 0.71.
You don't have to write that out then?
No, they just did it right there. See it? All right, B. If the application used requires that the size of the test be increased, what value of n makes sense in the application? Positive values, all real values, negative values, n is equal to 0. Well, what happens if you put in positive values? Well, 0.7 times 1 is 0.7. So that'd be 0.7 plus 5. That'd be 1 point something, 2 point something, 3 point something, 4 point something, 5 point something. So it looks like to me that you want to use all real values. But what happens to the function? What happens to a fraction if the denominator gets bigger than the numerator?
Then the fraction is a smaller fraction.
You get smaller, you get a smaller fraction. So be careful here because they may be trying to trick you. What does the question ask? If the application used requires that the size of the test be what? Increase. Well, let's read it again. If a test has reliability has the number of questions increased by a factor n, number of questions is n. Say that 2 or 3 times to yourself so you know what n is. Number of questions. The reliability of the new test is given. So what are they asking here? If the application used requires that the size of the test be increased, what's the size of the test? Number of questions. So be careful here because you might get confused.
Wait,
The size of the test being increased. What values of n make sense in the application? Well, are you going to have negative questions?
no.
Okay, so that one's out. Okay? You're just going to have positive questions? Are you just going to have all real values? Or is n going to be greater than 0?
Well, if you can't have negatives, does that mean you can't have all real values?
That's true. So So those two would be what? Out. Well, what's the difference between positive values of n and n is equal to 0? Well, you're not going to use n is equal to 0. Why?
Because that means you're not increasing the
Because that would give you 0, period. 0 reliability. So what do y'all think it is?
positive.
I think it's positive. Y'all are winners. All right, I've done that homework for you. Let's go to the next homework. Y'all should be able to do the rest of it, okay? I'm not going to do all your homework for you. I'm going to tell you what's good test questions, though. And there's only been a couple of good test questions in that one, and that was the graphing ones. I think y'all can plot points. I'm not going to do that one. That one's easy for you. There we go. No, that's a calculator drill. I don't do calculator drills. Okay, they want you to use a calculator here. All right, let's work on this one. The function P is equal to blah, 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 gives the percent of households with internet access as a function of T. All right, write that down. The function P is equal to 7.34T plus 7.73 gives the percent of households with internet access as a function of T. The number of years after 1996. T is equal to the number of years after 1996. Okay? And they're asking you, what are the values of T that correspond to the years, blah, blah, blah. And then they're asking you to plug in f of 8. And then they're asking you what is the max and the min. And we're going to talk about the max and the min. I'll blow this up for you. Hold on, let me see if I can how to work this thing. Because this one is different. There. That's as big as I can get it. Now in this problem, I can't write on the board, it'll go all over the place. I gotta bring it back down. That's why I don't like to blow the board up. So if you can't see the board, what should y'all need to do? Sit toward the front of the room, because when I blow it up, I can't write on it. So, all right. So y is equal to 7.34x plus 7.73. And that's, I'm just writing it in terms of x and y just to kind of make it easier for you. If you don't like that, then I'm sorry. You can do it your way on your paper. That's fine. I'm just trying to make it easier for the students that, you know, don't necessarily think it's easy. All right, so that takes care of this. And this is percent of homes that is got internet. And X is what? The number of years since when? 1996. Alright, so it says, what are the values of X that correspond to the years 1998 and 2001? So what do you need to do to 1998 and 2001? Subtract what?
1996.
Good. Subtract 1996 from both.
And then,
So A,
and then plug the different.
plug those numbers in for Y. Because that's the, the number of years. You plug it in for X. Thank you. What are the values of X that correspond to the years 1998 and 2000? So for 1998, that would be 1998 minus 1996 is equal to 2. And 2001 minus 1996 is what? 5. Now the reason some of you may go, well, that's just basic math. Well, some people don't know to subtract 1996. That's what they're trying to get a point. That's what they're trying to get across to you. That to get X, you have to subtract 1996 from these two numbers. Now, P is equal to f of 8 gives the value of P for what year? What is f of 8? 8 is X. So let's be. If 8 is X, what year does that represent?
Wait, 8?
Right here. F of what? What do we call it? F of what?
Are you moving on? Are you moving on? Are you like past the 2 and 5 thing?
Yeah, we finished that. Right here.
I'm still.
All you had to do was find 2 and 5. That's it.
You didn't have to plug them in?
Well, you can if you want to, but they're just wanting to know what are the values of T that correspond to the years, these two right here. So they just want you to find X. Alright? Now, if X is 8, what's the year that corresponds to? Or if T is 8? Be 8 plus 1996 is 2004. 8 plus 1996 is equal to 2004. Alright, now this C you do on your calculator. So you're going to plug this into your calculator. And I'll do that up here. I'll freeze that on the screen until I pull up my calculator. I'm trying to freeze the screen. Hand it in the calculator. Graph y is equal to 7.34 x plus 7.73. And graph. And I'm going to do a zoom 6 just to do standard, which that probably is already that way. Okay, what do they want to know? The question asks, it says, what x min and x max should be used to set the viewing window of the graph so that you can see 1996 to 2005. Well, I would suggest 0 to what? What's 1996 minus 5? Or 1996 from 2005, what would that be? 9? That's what I would probably suggest, but who knows? Let's try it. Go to window, or go to window, and they've got it from, I'm going to set it from 0 to 10. That ain't going to work. We got to do something with our Y's, because that Y is going to be way up there. So I'm just going to zoom out because I don't like to zoom standard. And you do your own thing here. Zoom out. Well, let me wait. Just hurry up. Okay. You can zoom out and zoom out until you get the dadgum first quadrant and you get it out. I wish I could. I don't know what's wrong with the calculator. It just keeps going. Can't turn it off. Let me see if I can turn it off. Nope. Let me just get out of it. Try it again. Sorry. Y is equal to 7.34 x plus 7.73. And graph, and I'm going to just do a zoom out. That's the way I do things. And I put the, I'll put the bracket, I'll put the origin right about there because that's where it's crossing into the first quadrant. And then you can start seeing it, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom out again. And move it up a little bit more so we can see right in here. And you see that it's not getting any better as far as the, because you're at 26 right here and 3. So let's go ahead and look at the window again. And the Y min is negative 133. So I'm going to do the first quadrant. And I'm going to say 0 here. And I'm going to say 0 here. And let's look and see what it looks like. Uh-huh. Thank you. Appreciate it. And you see right there that you're seeing it a little bit better. And then you can hit trace. And you can move on until you get, and see, and you just blow it up. I'm trying to get, there it is. There's the trace right there. And Y is equal to 13. What is ours? 1996. 13. They want to know 2005. What is 2005? 9? Or is it? It's 9, so I need to find x is equal to 9.
Wait.
You go to the, maybe go.
I'm getting confused. Is this another
Say again?
problem?
Yeah, probably. Not the graph part. No, not this. But it's going to be between 6 and 8. We'll stop here because y'all are confused and I need to call the roll. So, but anyway, you can keep graphing it and get it to where it's a nice graph. But let's see what they got. T is equal to, what is the value of T? What did we find? 2 and 5? 2, 5, and that's that. And then what do we get here? 2004. Got that. And what is f of 8? F of 8. Oh, we got to, wasn't it? We got to plug f of 8 in? I didn't know that. Okay, what is f of 8? What's 8 times 7.34? Somebody do that for me. plus 7.73.
66.45.
All right, 66.45. Got that right. And then X min 0. Got that right. And I don't know what the X max would be, but I would say probably 9 or 10. And that's what they got. So that's the answers. Well, that's just asking you the first quadrant. I'll explain that again tomorrow. I bet when y'all come back. Do y'all come to school Monday? No, you do not. Let me get up the, hold on a minute, and let me pull up the attendance. Let me stop this.